You're at home, you're sheltering in place, and you're bored out of your mind. Why is that? And what can you do about it? Keep watching. I'm Damon and this is Life Mastery Gym, and I teach people just like you cutting-edge NLP processes and techniques so that you can master your life and take charge of your destiny. So if that sounds good, make sure you click that subscribe button right down here so you can get these videos on a regular basis. There's 100 things you could be doing even though you're stuck at home, but you're not doing them and you're feeling really bored. By the end of this video, I'm going to explain why that is, why you're feeling that way, and why you might not be doing what you could be doing or what you could be learning, like learning NLP, which is probably why you clicked on this video. After studying NLP for many years and coaching people and understanding patterns and structures of patterns of why we do what we do and why we don't do what we want to do instead, I've come to a lot of insights that I'm going to give you in this video. In the description below, you will find a link that will take you to a website where you can take a free assessment, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the video, like at the end of the video. But if you're feeling a little impatient because you are bored, you might want to go now to that link and click it and see what that assessment's all about, or you can watch the entirety of this video and hear me explain what that assessment is about. So first of all, the world has shut down. If you're watching this video around the time that it was published, that's the current state of pretty much everyone in the world. And maybe you're watching this video much later, in which case I hope things have gone well and we've gotten through this thing quickly and everybody's healthy and that nobody else is dying. So whenever you're watching this video, though, I think you will find this to be incredibly useful. If you're watching this video when this is all happening and we're all facing the same thing, think about this for a moment. This has never happened, at least in my lifetime, and I don't think there's anybody old enough to have been alive when the Spanish flu hit. So this is probably the only time in your lifetime where you will experience where pretty much the entire world shuts down. Not completely, we're not completely shut down, but think about that. We are in the strangest time. We will never probably see this again, hopefully not ever see this again. But there's some unique advantages to this, to finally like slowing down life or even sort of stopping life altogether. And so you're at home, you don't have much to do. You probably have fantasized or dreamed about something like this before, not with all the bad stuff, not with all the sick stuff, but this idea of like stopping the world for a little while and catching your breath, stopping the world for a little while, and then being able to focus on all of the hundreds of things that you've been wanting to learn, that you've been wanting to do, but you always said you were too busy to do. Well, now you have the time to do it, or maybe not all of them, because some of them might require being around a bunch of other people, but there are plenty of things that you wanted to learn, that you wanted to do, that you can do in your home, or you can learn in your home on YouTube or some other online training. And now's the time to do it. The first step would be to really focus on those things. What are those things? You maybe even make a list, but what are those things that you've always said, well, I don't have time to do, but when I get time, I'm going to go do it. Now's the time to make that list, figure out what it is that you can do. Now, you might have already done that. You might already be thinking, yeah, I know what I want to do. I know what I've been putting off. But for some reason, I just can't even motivate myself to do it. I just feel like I'm sort of hanging in suspension and my life is just sort of like there and it's happening, but it's not happening. And I know exactly what you're experiencing because I experienced it too. For the first week or so of this, I experienced the same thing. So I dove deep into myself and I said, okay, what is actually happening here? What is happening is you have patterns in your life, and we live by patterns. Even in Zen Buddhism, they talk about these patterns. We love our patterns. We try to find patterns. We look for patterns. When we're learning English or we're learning a language, whether it's the first time or it's your second or third or fourth language, what do? We look for patterns. In life, we look for patterns, for guidelines, things to follow. We create patterns. That's our routines. That's our habits. So right now, the normal patterns that you're used to have fallen away because we're at home and we're not working, we're not doing our normal routines. So when we don't have those patterns to sort of bounce off of, it feels really strange. And one of the things that can happen as a result is a sense of boredom. Like, okay, I used to be running this pattern and suddenly somebody takes the pattern away and then I'm just kind of hanging here. And I know that I want to do all these other things. But because I don't have my patterns, I'm lost. And so that's what a lot of you are experiencing. I'll give you some analogies, some metaphors or analogies to kind of compare this to. So I've been doing yoga for a long time, and part of the sequence that I do in yoga are standing balancing postures. You normally do the standing postures before you do the seated postures. So this is balancing on one foot while you're holding your other foot and things like that. And what I noticed was I can practice at home, which is where I normally practice. And when I go somewhere else, when I go to another studio or I'm maybe at someone else's house practicing, I noticed that my balance was way off. And it happened several times, and I started to realize what was happening. We use our eyesight to balance ourselves a lot. When I would be balancing on one foot, there were visual cues that I were using to align myself and to know that I was balanced. Well, when I go somewhere else, those visual cues are not there. So what did it feel like? I felt unbalanced. I felt like I was sort of shaky. So this is an example of how when you take away a person's patterns, how they feel kind of lost and maybe off balance. And they don't feel like maybe running out and being ambitious and learning something. It feels like, well, I just want to get my balance again. I just want to feel normal again before I go do something. So that can lead to boredom. And another analogy would be bats. How appropriate for this. We don't know if bats really cause the coronavirus, but one thing that bats do that we know is they don't have great eyesight and they fly in the dark. They're nocturnal. So why would a bat fly in the dark if they don't really know where they're going? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, they use something called echolocation. They make sounds and then they judge how that sound bounces back to know exactly where they are. Now, it's an oversimplification, of course, but you get the idea. It's kind of like sonar. So again, that's what we do. We are constantly bouncing off of our patterns. And once again, when you take away those patterns, it can feel lost. It'll feel like you're a bat with poor eyesight flying in the dark. That's kind of scary. So this is basically how this is happening. This is why you feel bored, even when you have 100 things to do. So now you know why you're feeling and experiencing what you're feeling and experiencing. You're off balance. You're out of your patterns. You feel like you're kind of just hanging, here. So what do you do about it? First off, thank yourself for sending that signal of boredom to you. We are infinitely more intelligent than you probably will ever comprehend because so much of it is happening in our unconscious. So think of boredom as just a signal that your unconscious is sending to your consciousness to say, hey, we got to do something here. Your unconscious, there's a lot of wisdom in your unconscious, but there's also a lot that's missing from your unconscious that your conscious mind is needed. There's not one better than the other. I really don't like it when people try to make one sound better than the other. They're both very, very important, and they both work really, really well together instead of separately. So your unconscious is sending a signal to your conscious mind to say, we need to do something different. And that is showing up in the form of boredom. So thank yourself for having the wisdom to know that something's not right and to send you that signal. And the boredom signal is basically, hey, we need to do something. So what are we going to do? And there will probably never, ever be another time, like I said, where you will have this opportunity. Now, I know you're thinking there's so much uncertainty, there's so much fear, we don't know what's going to happen in the economy. And if that's the case, you might want to watch my my video that I just put out a few days ago on embracing uncertainty. Okay, so if that's what you're struggling with and it's not so much boredom, check out that video. It'll be in the description as well. It's also linked to this video. So if fear and uncertainty is not a huge problem that you're dealing with right now, and it's just this boredom thing, think about the areas of your life that you want to make better, that you want to improve. Because like I said, it will likely never happen that you'll have this opportunity again. Hopefully, this never happens again where so many people get sick. But think about it. When has the world like this ever shut down? So take advantage of this unique opportunity to better yourself and to better your life. And at the end of this, come out ahead. Imagine that. Imagine when life finally gets back to normal, you're better. You've improved not only yourself, but you've improved certain areas of your life. That would be an amazing vision to aspire to. So really start thinking about that. And finally, step 3, think about who do you need to become in order to make those improvements in yourself and in your life. Who do you need to become? What do you need to do? What new patterns do you need to create to level up to this? Now think about that. Your patterns were taken away from you. Your usual patterns were taken away from you. So that your usual patterns of comfort, your usual patterns of making a living or working have been taken away from you. But also, this is really key, the usual patterns which have kept you where you are instead of advancing and improving, those are gone too. Think about that. All of your patterns have been yanked away. That means all of your success patterns, which that's a tough one, but also all of your unsuccessful patterns have been removed. So now, from ground zero, you get to recreate these. And how you want to create these is based on who you want to become and what areas of your life you want to improve. Now, this would be a much, much longer video if I started to explain how to create all those patterns. And if you want to know more about that, if you'd like me to do an additional video on that, let me know in the comments below. And if there's enough people who are interested in that, I'll make another video. That is a kind of a continuation of this one to show you how to create those patterns. But in the meantime, what you can do is you can click that link in the description. It will take you to a website where you take a free assessment. And what this assessment will do, once you get the results, will help you understand who do you want to become and what areas of your life do you want to improve most. Super, super important. It will likely surprise you. So check out that assessment. You'll be happy that you did. And let's start growing from this. Let's really take advantage of this opportunity to create new patterns, to become the person you've always wanted to be and improve the areas of your life that you've always wanted to improve. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that now by clicking that subscribe button and clicking the bell as well. And I really hope that you and your family are safe and that you're taking all the necessary precautions to make sure that you don't get sick. So I wish you really, really well in this time, this very strange time that we find ourselves in. And I really hope you take advantage of this unique opportunity. Take care.